Our next speaker is from the state of Oregon. As we talked about earlier this morning, Oregon is 1 year into their experiment with legalization. And Sergeant Patrick Huskey, he's with the Drug Enforcement Section of Oregon HIDTA, and he's here today to present what his agency is seeing right now after 1 year of legalization, and talk about some of the concerns that the state of Oregon has as it relates to enforcement activity. So please welcome Sergeant Huskey.
Okay, this fixed mic is going to kill me because I like to walk and talk at the same time. So again, my name is Patrick Huskey. I'm the sergeant at the Oregon State Police. I oversee the programs for the entire state. One of the roles I have there is the interdiction sergeant. So if our troopers on the road get any kind of interdictions on the road, I send out 1 of 3 of my detectives, and we help them with that follow-up. So that's where I get a lot of my data for kind of what we're experiencing. I'm actually here on behalf of Sergeant Tyler Bechtel, who's our marijuana enforcement sergeant. He's brand new to that. That's a position we just created August 1. So, like I said, he should be here today, but information still is going to be the same. So, we have our DHE initiative, and actually I see a lot of faces from some of the DHE conferences we've been at. Patrol troopers, our CAPE program, which is criminal apprehension through patrol enforcement. A lot of our CAPE members happen to be our K-9 guys. We have 9 K-9s statewide, all of which are part of the CAPE program. Those nine K-9s that we now have are actually 3-odor dogs based on a lot of the changes in the laws. Everybody decided we need 4-odor dogs, 4th odor being marijuana. So everybody panicked and decided we better get rid of our marijuana dogs, and that, in my opinion, that could be a mistake because we still have components of marijuana that obviously are illegal, and maybe we should have kept a couple of those for maybe parcel diversion cases at some of our coastal annexes, but yet that wasn't my decision to make, so here we are. We're a member of the HIDTA interdiction team here in Oregon. Work closely with all the task forces in Oregon and across the United States on a lot of our cases. You guys saw Robbie this morning. He was hired April 1st, 2016, and is generating our first marijuana report that's due, I think, February of 2017. So we're not quite, I guess it depends on when we started. We're not quite a year in. We really don't have a year of data yet, which is why we're still writing our report. So you guys may have some questions of me today that I really can't answer because we don't have the data to back it yet. Our DHE initiative aggressively will work criminal interdictions on our highways and interstates. Once a HIDTA is made, as I said before, our Drug Enforcement Section HIDTA detectives will roll out to assist on those cases. That information is then disseminated across the United States if we can find links anywhere. So known diversion methods that we're seeing right now. And it's the same thing you guys are seeing in your own states. Parcels, FedEx, UPS, US Postal. We're now kind of seeing dark web sales of the concentrates and the extracts, which are leading us back to BHO labs in our own state. The highway transportation aspect of it, a lot of cars moving across the United States. Consumer shipping containers and mass transit, buses, Amtrak, airport. Typical stuff that we all know about. So regulatory framework. We, as in the Oregon State Police, are not part of the regulation side of marijuana. We're the investigation side. And early talks wanted us to get involved in a lot of that, and we kept saying, no, we're just the investigation side. If there's a crime, we'll look into it. But we don't want anything to do with the regulation side. So we have the Oregon Liquor Control Commission, which does the licenses for recreational producers, processors, and retailers. A lot of similarities here with Washington, okay? We have the metric system, which I believe Allison made a comment that it's purely based on the honesty of the people running everything. And we had a demonstration from the metric people, and that's the system we chose in Oregon as well. And that was the first thing I thought of when I listened to their spiel was, oh, so you're basing this off honesty. That's good. Oregon Health Authority, registration for growers, processors, and dispensaries. You got your Department of Agriculture, who also does the industrial hemp side of things, and they also do the food safety inspections of all the edibles. And we're still in the middle of the implementation of a lot of these things. Other state agencies that are involved in this, the whole regulation process, are going to be OSHA. Everybody knows what OSHA is. And you get your state fire marshal's office, the Department of Revenue, that's where all our tax money goes, and state and local law enforcement, and of course the DEQ for all the, you guys know what DEQ is, yeah. So annual bulk marijuana sales, it's kind of hard to read the graph from here for me, but this went back, let me look here. So you can kind of see, those are the years, and you can see they're by quarter also, and that's just some of those numbers. I think you guys will have copies of this a little bit later, so if you want to look at that a little closer. That's just Oregon State Police traffic stops. That doesn't really include any of the other bigger agencies. That is our annual marijuana plant seizures. Those are actually statewide numbers for us. Everything is reported through our HIDTA DOJ center. Those also go back to 2011. And very similar to Washington's too. You kind of look at some of the comparisons that they had over the years. And a lot of that for us, the reduction in plants, this year, last year, we've typically received less and less money for outdoor eradication, which means we reduce our flights, which means we don't spot as much marijuana. We're pretty much done flying for the year. I think we've done 6 or 7 marijuana grows, and bow season for us just started. And typically we get a lot of outdoor reports from our bow hunters, because they're the ones that get off the beaten path and walk a couple miles out into the woods, and all of a sudden they're being confronted by a DTO occupant bureau. And short haul for us, that's a grow we took down this year that was on private property. It was a piece of a farmer's field that they didn't farm, but somebody decided to go ahead and plant a marijuana grow in it. Some of the things that changed for us with our medical program was the increase 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. With the law changes, recreational marijuana, 1 ounce in public, 8 ounces in private, and 4 plants per household. Transition from the medical to recreational, it's kind of weird. We've got a lot of opinions on whether or not somebody can stack. That's the term they're using. So if I'm medical, can I have my medical? And if I'm personal, can I have my personal? And we've got some differing opinions from our Department of Justice on that, and it's quite interesting. And again, there's things that came up when we wrote our laws. I've got an 11-page book that I keep with me at all times when I get a call, because it's so confusing. One of the things we tried to do is write a flow chart for our troopers on the road. If this much, then this violation. You can't even make a flow chart. It's so confusing. And then our officers say, well, it's legal, so I'm not going to worry about it. And then they'll call you later and say, hey, I got a guy, they had like 5 pounds of weed, I let him go. It's like, well, that was a felony. So. And we are seeing an increased seizures of the edibles and the extracts that are being diverted. And an increase in VHO labs, which I'm actually interested in our next speaker, because I want to listen to what he says. These are just recent seizures that were diversion cases. A lot of them are heading to Florida for some reason. Recent investigation conducted on Highway 140, which is rural eastern Oregon, Lakeview, Oregon, for those that may know where that is. 100 pounds of marijuana destined for Florida. Had property in Cave Junction, which is in southwest Oregon, Josephine County. You guys have probably heard of that. It's just north of the Emerald Triangle. That was also going out there. Suspect utilizes vehicles to transport marijuana across the countries. Also utilized parcels, and ongoing case still at this time. That's just 110 pounds that was in a couch. I just saw some pictures from this trooper the other day. He went back through his pictures through the previous years, and almost every year they have somebody that tries to deliver a couch through their area. And anytime they see a couch in a vehicle, they know the bottom of it's going to be packed full of marijuana. You can buy couches anywhere, you don't have to ship them like that. So, try to breeze through that. Here's my contact phone number, as well as Sergeant Beckles and Robbie General from earlier. Our lieutenant's phone number's up there as well, but feel free to take down those numbers and give us a call if you have any further questions.